So tonight I'm going to swap out the 0 MOA scope mounts that came with the Thompson Center Compass 6.5 Creedmoor that I've been showing that you can get some pretty decent distance, 500 plus yards, for less than $1,000. So I'm going to swap the zeros out for the 20 MOA rail. I looked all over the internet, literally only found one company that even makes them. That's this one here, EGW. So I'm going to show you how to mount it, show you what it is that it does, and show you how to torque it up properly. So if it's something you're interested in, stick around for 7 extra minutes or so. Okay, so now for the Thompson Center Compass 6.5 Creedmoor that I'm setting up for long range shooting on a budget, trying to keep her less than $1,000. I'm going to swap out these 0 MOA rails for a 20 MOA rail. What this is it is a solid one-piece rail instead of 2 pieces. These 2 pieces here are exactly the same thicknesses, so that your plane of your focal plane that you're seeing through your reticle on your scope stays perfectly flat. What this is, it's at an angle. So what that does is it takes your scope and it actually angles it down just a little bit. And the reason you want to do that is because on a 0 MOA rail, for you to be zeroed out at 100, you're usually running somewhere above 20 MOA. So you're not sitting square down at 0. So what this does is it points the scope down a little bit, so that you have to go all the way past to get to 0. So instead of sitting at like 22, 24, 26 MOA at 100 yards, you're sitting at 8, 10, 12, something like that. So if you have a 60, 70, 80 MOA scope, you can get a larger, fuller range of how much that can go out to, because after a while, especially once you get past that 500 to 700 yard mark, your bullet is just going to tank. And to go from 100 yards to 500 yards on a 6.5 Creedmoor, you might only go up 6 MOA, but to go from 500 to say 800, you might have to go up another 20 on top of that. So you need that extra distance. So this is who makes it. It is EGW. I've looked all over the internet looking for 20 MOA rail for the Thompson Center. This is the only one I could find. If you can find something different, go for it. So it's pretty simple. We're just going to take these off. And then I like to take something and wipe them down on top, because there's usually a lot of packing oils under there. So the wider side goes in the back, the thinner side goes up front. This came with its own set of screws, so you don't have to, but I always use Loctite, especially on the rail. I don't plan on it moving. I don't plan on taking it off. This is blue Loctite anyways, so even if you do want to take it off, it's just kind of gums it up. It doesn't really, it's not like a glue. Just takes a drop. As you thread that on, it's going to push all that through the threads. That's probably actually way more than I needed for it, but that's what came out. So just going to get all these kind of halfway finger tight. Not going to tighten it just yet. I want it to still be able to move. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push this all the way forward. That way when the gun jerks back from the fire, this isn't going to want to slide forward on it. So just get it like that, so now it's not moving. Take some of that. Get that blue Loctite that's squeezing out there. So now I'm just going to just go around and just finish kind of snugging them up. I'm just lightly snugging them up, just basically to where they stop. I'm not getting crazy about it. So now I'm going to switch over to the Wheeler fat wrench. If you're doing any sort of mounts, pretty much anything, you should probably go ahead and buy one of these. Make sure whenever you store them, you always store them with all the pressure off of the spring, so below 10, just to the point where it basically stops. When you're torquing stuff, if you've seen any of the other videos I do, you don't just go straight to 20, which is what EGW recommends this at 20 inch-pounds. So what you're going to want to do is start lower. I'm going to start down at 10. You can start at 5. The less increments you do, the better off you're going to be. And then, so you'd start wherever you want. I'm going to start back here. And then you're going to go to the front. The reason you do that, instead of just cranking down and you go back and forth, instead of just cranking down, if you just crank down to the back here, it's actually going to lift up your front just a hair. And what it's going to do is those screws that are in there, when it lifts, it's going to pull up on there. It's going to give you a false torque on it. So now I'm going to go up to 15 inch-pounds. And I'll go ahead and start up front. And you just go back and forth. Okay, now we're going to go up 20. And I'm going to give it just a hair bit more because the blue Loctite actually does work as a lubricant and will change your torque values from what they give you. But not by much. I mean, we're just talking inch-pounds. We're not talking foot-pounds. So you're going to twist. And that one twisted just a hair. So I'm going to make sure that I know that I'm going to start back there. That one's twisted. That one twisted. That one twisted. So I'm just going to start all the way back over. So that one broke right away. That one broke right away. That one broke right away. So it's good. So now we're just going to double click everything. Just to make sure, double check nothing moves. And that's it. It's pretty simple. Next step, put the scope on there, put the rings on there, and this will be ready to go.